So at the risk of doxing him, I just got a message from friend of the pod, Leo Garcia, and he's like, is it okay if I'm like just now getting into Radiohead? And I'm like, as long as we all agree that Tom York should be in like a Magneto prison, like a plexiglass cube in the middle of a room, then I think it's...
Right. You can't have the slow kind of decades-long realization that Tom York should be tarred and feathered and deemed a menace to society. You have to arrive at both liking Radiohead and noting that Tom York should be in a supermax prison. For
thought jail in thought prison.
you're like humming "Hail to the Thief" while beating him with a billy club. Hail to the thief! Hail to the thief!
He's got like the Hannibal Lecter mask on, just like
fucking and they're on tour now. And I saw a video and they're like, "Whoa, Radiohead's so fucking crazy." Tom York writes a song and like. So there's like 5 people on stage. There's of course like the drummer and there's Johnny and whatever, and everyone is on a method of percussion except for Tom, and it's the like most like fucking low energy shit. They do this thing where they're not like on the stage. They have one of those like circle things in the middle of a stadium. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like big screens around them. So they're all like hitting like fucking, a little percussion, and Tom's doing this fucking I'm a little sprite. I'm a dancing little British sprite man, and like it's fucking horrible. It's a monstrous thing. This Radiohead.
I feel like I started developing a grudge against him when I heard. I don't know. This is like a pet peeve for bands. Like I understand you're a Tom York or like a Trent Reznor. You're like insanely famous and insanely influential, right? Couldn't be more of like a figure in your respective sort of musical niche. So I can understand why you wouldn't want to play the hits.
Right.
Okay. Like I get it. You're so sick of being a creep and a weirdo, and that's fine. But like, come on, but people like Creep. Like, it's a good song. Like, I mean, I don't like. I mean, like, Creep is like reminds me of being like 16, so I don't like enjoy it that much anymore. But if I was paying top dollar to see Radiohead, probably the only time I would go to see Radiohead, you better play Creep. Like, I don't care if you're sick of it. Right. You're welcome for the millions of dollars.
Right. And you have a fantastic video documentation of them playing In Rainbows from front to back, King of Limbs front to back. If they're getting up on the stage and you paid money, play Creep. Play Creep, motherfucker, Creep.
Play Creep, earn your place in culture for me right here, right now.
Yes, justify it. Dance, bitch. Dance.
Yeah. If I ever get even a modicum of fame and people are like, oh, is he going to draw another orc? You better believe it. Okay, I will play the hits. I won't make you look at my, like, when I'm like 57 and I'm doing like, I'm in my color field abstraction phase, I'll still draw an orc. Like, I know why people are here.
Yep. Especially for a band like Radiohead, they're a rock band, like when you boil it down, they're maybe very talented musicians, but they did like radio pop hits essentially that they're just like a little more like sophisticated or something. Or musically adventurous, but like nevertheless it's verse chorus, and if it's not talking about how you're a weirdo, then what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, you're either a weirdo or you're high and dry, and those are the two ways to be. And that's okay. Leo, it's okay that you're just getting into Radiohead.
Yeah. Welcome to 14, sweetheart. We're so excited to see you, bro.
Hello and welcome to SWIMFANS. This week it's interesting. Jennifer is not available, so holding it down. There's just two of us. It's like once they killed Julius Caesar. You just had Mark Antony and, you know, the other one who was part of the triumvirate. You know, the fucking other one.
Yep.
So that's what's happening now is that ancient Rome is falling apart. The triangle of power is what kept things stable as culture dissolved into decadence and cruelty. And it's because Jennifer's not here.
Yep. That's what happens. Yep.
I am your co-host. God, I need that like bondage Phantom of the Opera so bad. I'm Josh McKenzie.
Strategically deploying Antonio Banderas in denim. I'm Craig Neeson.
Honestly, it's a weapon of mass destruction.
Truly. Just laying waste to the audience. Yeah.
This week on the podcast, we are talking 1989 Pedro Almodovar film, Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down.
I just do it.
So if you haven't seen Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down, this movie is about Ricky, played by Antonio Banderas. He is a young man who is like literally just released from the psych hospital. He's been banging the head shrink, and she's like, go on, be free, go out there. He immediately makes a beeline for a film set where he knows that a former porn star and woman that he hooked up once with, her name is Marina, but she's no longer doing porn. Now she's doing like real movies. So she is sort of filming like I don't know, maybe like what Almodovar thinks like a Giallo film is. They're filming a movie. The director is this old guy who's in love with her. Her sister Lola, importantly, is like the line producer on the production. But, you know, Marina seems happy to be there. She's happy to, you know, even though this like old perv is like, you know, leching after her, and even though her sister is like scolding her, I think she's happy to be doing this movie. So Ricky tries to like come up to see Marina. Importantly, he like steals, I think, like the keys to her apartment. He steals like a bunch of money out of the dressing room, and he goes to see Marina, but she doesn't recognize him because he was just like a one-night stand. You know what I mean? So sort of rebuffed, he follows her to her apartment, and so there's like the layout is sort of important. So on the top floor of this building, you have in one apartment Marina, and then on the other apartment, only two apartments here, you have Pepe, who is her neighbor. And what's going on with him is that he's leaving. He's going on a trip somewhere, and Marina's sister Lola will be watering the plants from time to time. So there is no one else on the floor except for Marina and an empty apartment. So Ricky breaks into Marina's apartment. He like headbutts her. She goes unconscious. And so he ties her up, binds her mouth with medical tape. And he's like, I'm going to keep you tied up till you love me. I love you, and this is going to work out great. I'm going to be your husband and the father to your children, and we'll have no problems. There is immediately a problem, though, because now Marina has like a terrible toothache. Like it sounds like he like broke her tooth or something, and regular painkillers don't work because she's a former heroin addict. So Ricky tries to go out to get something stronger. Like they go to Marina's doctor, who tries to give them a prescription, but the pharmacist won't help them. So Ricky goes out to like the black market to try to score some painkillers. He robs a drug dealer, brings the pills back, and you know they sort of like play house in like a weird way. Whereas, and by play house I mean she's just tied up the whole time, but he like, you know, sleeps by her and has like this inner monologue about how to treat a woman. Meanwhile, at the film set, Marina's not showing up to work. Both the lecherous director and Lola, Marina's sister, are trying to get a hold of her. They call the apartment multiple times. Lola's worried that Marina's slipping back into old drug habits, but nobody can get a hold of her. So in order to sort of like hide her, Ricky breaks into the opposite apartment and ties, it's like a mirror image, I think, of Marina's apartment. So he ties her up in there so that she's effectively not at home. Like if someone were to come by, if someone were to like have the police break down the door, Marina would not be found. They sort of get a little more comfortable with each other, I guess, or at least she's trying to like play him in order to get him to stop tying her up. But there's sort of a turning point where Ricky goes out to get some heroin because, again, her tooth hurts and it's the only thing that'll help. And he is beat up by the drug dealer who he robbed the first time. He's quite badly injured, covered in like, wounds and cuts and stuff. And Marina like stitches him up. And this is the point where she realizes she's like fully Stockholm syndromed and she's in love with her captor. They have sex. They have this sort of interesting dynamic where they're going to like build a life together, but also Marina isn't sure that she won't run away. So Ricky, this is sort of the end of the movie now. So Ricky goes out to steal a car because he wants to take her to her hometown. Lola, who I said is watering the neighbor's plants, comes in. She finds Marina and rescues her. And even though Marina's now rescued, she realizes she wants to be with Ricky. So there's this final scene where Ricky returned on his own to his hometown, dejected. The love of his life is gone. And we see Marina and Lola pull up in like the car. And basically, Marina's like, welcome to the family. We're absolutely getting married. Your plan completely worked. And Lola's like, I'll get you a job. You better want to work. Let's go. And it's sort of like they all just drive away together singing in the car. What did you think of Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down?
I thought this was really lovely. The only other Pedro Almodovar film that we did was Law of Desire, or Laws, plural of Desire, I forget. Mm-hmm. And I remember liking that quite a bit, and that was my entry point into Almodovar, actually. I think, in some way fulfilling the erotic thrillerness of SWIMFANS, and also, like, I should probably check this box off at some point. And Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down is literally a movie that I remember as a teenager having on like a list, like I gotta watch this, and I remember not getting to it, and then seeing the cover over and over and over and over again, seeing the title, that very distinct title, and being like, oh yeah, I'll get to that eventually. And I'm excited that I'm here, baby. Yeah, I mean, in like Almodovar's like, ability, I think, as like an alchemist, he's taken something that is on its face. When I read the synopsis, I'm like, oh, that's a SWIMFANS movie. A woman gets kidnapped and a mental patient is trying to play house with her. That's fucking crazy. Like in Netflix's hands, this would be an entirely different type of film. But the thing about Almodovar is he's so like buoyant. I want to use the word buoyant. I use that in my review. There's something joyful and colorful about his mark that really sells this again, on paper, very distressing scenario as something that's like really kind of beautiful. And I'm actually not like particularly worried about being like, oh, but of course in real life this is, we could use words like Stockholm syndrome and we could talk about consent and like the kind of like fabulous like nature of something like this being damaging or blah 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 blah. But really, like it's a fantasy film about two people matching each other's freak, and
so true.
I mean, in that way, yeah, it's something that's like joyous, like something that I think goes a long way into kind of giving this distance, or pushing this into the realm of complete fantasy, is the fact that we begin on a film set, right? So we're already understanding that like this is, we're seeing all the artifice, we're seeing the camera, we're seeing the director, we're seeing the producer being like stressed out about the fact that she's like just hemorrhaging money and she doesn't know why. We're seeing this, this old director's last. His last swing at making a film, and it's a spin-off, but it's really personal, and it seems to be like a fucking Mortal Kombat movie or something, like a BDSM Bane from fucking Batman.
It's so awesome.
Just like jumps into a woman's apartment and is like, I'm gonna love you forever, and then she lassos him with like a fucking like extension cord,
like phone cord,
like a phone cord. It's fucking great, and again that pushes the woman who's playing an actress into this kind of realm of we're already pointing at the artifice of the film, and also like in a kind of clever way, she's been painted, and the kind of lech of the director who we catch like watching porn of her later. She's a porn star, and like in my mind there's like that kind of thing where like a porn star is an actress, but they're also engaged in a kind of unsimulated, what we would like think of as like an unsimulated act that's real, as opposed to like what's fake. So she like there's already this like destruction of like the idea that we're engaging in anything that resembles real life. It's complete construction, it's complete fantasy. And yeah, I think that the idea of Antonio Banderas, who I think in Law of Desire, and I'm gonna feel bad if it's laws plural, so forgive me if I'm wrong.
I think it's law.
Yeah, I'm not gonna look that shit up. But like he's he's beautiful in that film, and this is the thing too. I think this is something we've run into a lot. Is like I can watch a film and like oh, that person was beautiful in it, and like not have like any kind of, how do I say this, like visceral jolly reaction to it. Antonio Banderas, like at this age wearing denim, like it's getting to me. All right. I'm not seeing. Yeah. I'm like, oh boy, like it's really powerful. Like his presence on the screen, which again, like he's playing. Again, and we could do this whole thing where we could problematize it and whatever. He's playing an escaped mental institution person who has been sleeping with his like the female nurses that have been his like charges for his life. And he's a clown. He's a goof. He does a handstand for in the beginning. He's wearing this like incredibly fake ass wig for like no reason. It's this very like he's very eager to please, and this idea of a woman that would be, of course, distressed and fucking pissed off that a freak weirdo tied her up, but then eventually realizing like, oh wait, like, and of course there's the ridiculous happenstance that, oh no, we hooked up that one night. One of my favorite, sorry, I'm getting a little too granular, but one of my favorite parts of this film is when Antonio Banderas' character shows her that the trajectory of his life. So it's this like little drawings that go from
crazy
like
move by
A
the way.
to B to C to D, and it's like first I was young, and then I was institutionalized, and then I escaped once, and I met you at the bar, and we had sex, and then we fucked so good that I was normal. I love that. That's one of my favorite parts of the movie, is that like the reason that he got released from the institution is that they fucked so good, he was just like so transfixed by her that like, oh, boy's fixed. Let's let him out. And then he just immediately engages in this like high concept sort of like I'm gonna tie you up until you love me type thing. But yeah, but just the idea of like these two kind of sort of wayward people, with pasts, capital P pasts. But the thing about, like, again, there's lightness and there's levity to everything. The fact that like, the female lead here is like a former drug addict, also isn't particularly heavy, right? Like it's not like this like, oh my past, oh I'm so weighted down by it, it's so awful. They're very much like cartoon characters in this way. They're very they're very fanciful, they're very colorful, and yeah, I think that this film really is just a perverse love story. Like it's doesn't strike me as particularly transgressive, although it is dealing with subject matter that's like hard to deal with, and maybe the way that it handles it is what we would call insensitive, but like just like the experience of the film is one of like, oh, like this is really beautiful, like this is like a really beautiful love story that an escaped inmate would find this woman and tie her up, and then she would genuinely fall in love with him, and they would begin planning their life as they drive into the distance with her sister, his future sister-in-law. I mean, it's also like romantic, like and like romance films don't work on me, and I think that's one of the things that's why this is effective, is because I need an in that's like I need a conceit that's a little unusual, right? Like a romance isn't going to work on me if it's just plowing straight ahead like a Hallmark movie. That's weird.
So some people need a little bit of sugar to make the medicine go down, but Craig Neeson, needs he needs quite a bit of medicine to make a little bit of sugar go down. Exactly.
I need that bitter. I want I want to taste the codeine.
Yeah, I mean, I think this movie is, I don't know, it's such a incredible, I guess, masterclass in like tone, because this movie is absolutely like the HR meme of movies, right? Like you have the Netflix version of this, which, is terribly shot and terribly lit and like, very, very serious. And you're like, hello, HR. But you see the Almodovar version of this, which is, the sets are so weirdly colorful. Every door is like mint green and pink for some reason. Antonio Banderas is just like outrageously hot in this. When he puts like on a fake mustache for no reason, and he's like even hotter somehow. I'm not even a big like mustache guy, but something about Antonio Banderas with the fake mustache, I'm like, put it back. The mustache stays on during the hostage scenario. But like Almodovar is able to take such a it's a pretty upsetting situation. Like it's literally a home invasion, and then this crazy person is like saying, I will be the father to your children and your husband. You'll love me, and he does nothing except for like except to like break her sobriety. Like that's all that he does to her to make her love him. But it works because, like, I don't know, Almodovar's like made this world where like perverts have the edges sanded off. Like the director's like a creep and he's like pestering her. But like there's something about like Almodovar's like ability to make a movie where he feels like a defanged, harmless old man. Right. The extremely scary scenario posited in this movie by Banderas becomes it becomes like some sort of like Beauty and the Beast type situation, a reverse Beauty and the Beast type situation, which is, masterful. And this sort of like Almodovar like edge sanding turns this like giallo movie, the movie that's within the movie, it turns it into like an after school special or something. This like the bondage Phantom of the Opera comes in and Marina's like, I hate you, and he's like, how could you hate me? I love you even though I'm ugly. And then she strangles him to death with the phone cord. But like even like the Almodovar ability to make everything sort of like colorful and buoyant even works with the movie within the movie. I'm also pretty new to his filmography. I think I've also only seen Law of Desire, but I remember like there, in that movie there was also some fairly challenging subject matter, maybe not as surprising as the main conceit here. But he has just such a way of like, I don't know. He's like, no, don't be afraid. These are just weirdos. Like the Haneke version of this movie is horrible. Like people's knuckles are getting broken in unforeseen, like yet to be seen ways in the Haneke version of this. But there's something about the way that Almodovar makes movies where he's like, no, it's okay, you're safe. We're just going to be really horny. And, it works so well. I mean, I think the sex scene here between Ricky and Marina is like so hot. Like it's incredibly good. Like it's like, it's almost like in like two shots even. Like they just sort of like keep it locked on sort of like a medium shot of the top half of their bodies, and they're like, I don't know, just sort of like laughing and goofing around, and she's like, don't pull out, I haven't come yet. And then there's like that a shot that I think shouldn't work, but absolutely does, where it's like that shot where it's like over the top of their heads when Banderas is like getting on top of her, and it's like I would think that shot would be terrible, but it's actually really quite good. And yeah, I don't know, the sex is just really sexy. It's clear that Almodovar is like, yeah, I have two hot people here in the form of Antonio Banderas and Victoria Abril. I don't have to do anything. I can just let them be hot and have like a good time with it. And yeah, like it's outrageously sexy. Like you shouldn't leave this movie being like, I kind of need this to happen to me, but like I kind of need this to happen to me.
Yeah.
in like the Almodovar fashion. So
right. It's like this. It's something that only works in fantasy coordinates, right? It only works in that idea of like one has to be, I think, like romantic and very liberal about their ability to romanticize things. Right, like like this is a an artist. I feel like that's like communicating through like dark subject matter, his ability to be like I don't hopelessly is cliche or something, but steadfastly romantic about human entanglement and all of its like fucking problems. Still being somehow compelling or something like the idea of like all these like horrible things that human beings do to each other being in some way not exempt from the grounds of libidinal fantasy, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Like like there are people that engage. I mean, BDSM is just like a really obvious example, right? Like this is a kind of like soft sort of BDSM of of course it's like literally non-consensual even in the text of the film, but it's still a kind of engagement with that thing, with that idea of being tied up. So again, like this is like there's like matter and antimatter, and this is like the piano teacher is antimatter and this is matter. Where it's like, are you sure you want your fantasies? What if your fantasies were rendered so fucking clear?
Right.
What if you got what you wanted?
Yeah. What if your evil fantasies are even more evil than you could have ever imagined they were?
What if they broke you? What if this was Hellraiser and they fucking broke you? Yeah, and I mean, it really is a kind of like flip side to that coin, where it's like, instead of it being something that's like hideous and shattering, it's generative and beautiful, right? Like, again, like, I mean, it's something that takes a very persistent vision, and like you said, the sets, the use of color, the use of the camera, the use of like very understated humor, like the kind of like the physicality of like transporting a tied up human being from X place to Y place, or like he's one of my favorite moments is when he's quote unquote testing her because he's got the keys in a loop on his beautiful denim jeans, and he's testing. He's doing a fucking Looney Tunes ass like, oh, I'm so sleepy. And like pretends to sleep to see if she'll go for the keys. Of course she does. But that idea that like, it's a consistent kind of battery. And then I shouldn't be using words like this, but like it's a consistent kind of like construction of, again, color and light and humor, color, light, humor, color, light, humor. And then suddenly, again, like even like this idea of like, oh, the sister's gonna come in and like gonna like like find out, and the police are gonna come, and it's gonna be like very serious. Like even like the stakes or something don't become like that high, right? Like the movie doesn't ever like feel like it's gonna come to some sort of like grotesque head or like some kind of like fantastic conclusion where one person has to die or something. It's like, no, he returns to the place where he's from, and she goes there and she meets him. That's romance. That's a romance film. And again, it takes that consistent like execution of vision to make to carry the subject matter like he carries it.
Yeah, because it's like you like, how do I put this? There's probably a word for this. Don't get mad at me. It's like where the everything in the movie is like reinforcing this tone, even if it's not narrative. Like the sort of like bouncy set design is reinforcing like, don't be scared. This extremely scary situation isn't scary. Don't be alarmed. This pervy director is not scary. Yes, you're technically relapsing. Don't be alarmed. It's fine. Because look at this array of He-Man action figures that's in this guy's apartment. It's like this sort of like, all of the visuals in this movie are sort of like relentlessly sunny, pastel, just like charming visuals are just like reminding you that you're having a sexy time, even though this is a disaster in real life.
Right. And all those little like micro moments, like the moment where he goes to get whatever medication she's asking for in the beginning, and we have to hold hands so that the handcuffs are hidden. The pharmacist, who answers the door with basically a nightgown on and a holster with a revolver that's basically as big as her. She just, when they buzzed the door, she was fucking some guy. She was like in the storeroom fucking a guy, right? Like, so, like, we're getting a fuck. I'm making a Miles Davis joke. We're getting sketches of Spain, but like, it's that idea that like pregnant in this night is like people having sex. Like we're in a kind of, again, like a fantasy world, where like your drug dealer drives a scooter, and she's the baddest bitch with some hitters that will absolutely kick your ass if you mess with her. Like I think it takes all of that cumulative, attention to detail to keep this from being, again, like the dour thing that it could be,
Yeah, and I mean, like, because you brought it up, like, I think it's extremely good to like sort of relate this to The Piano Teacher, which I think is the antimatter version of this. I mean, because like like we've talked about this in movies like Twilight, right, where you're like consensually obsessed upon, right? Like, even at the beginning, like Bella's doesn't want to be with Edward, but he is creepy for long enough that she likes him. And so like it does become this sort of like safe, how do I want to phrase this? It becomes a sort of like arena where your fantasies, which of course, fantasies can be sort of scary in their real life execution, as we saw in The Piano Teacher. Your fantasy, what if your fantasy, like you said earlier, like it's just, I don't know, I hadn't thought about this while watching the movie, but it's like, what if your fantasies were beautiful? Like, what if you did just meet some fucking guy, and he, within a week you're essentially married,
right?
But this isn't scary. This is, in fact, you're literally weeping at the end with how happy you are,
right?
That this has happened to you. And yes, like even for like a Harlequin romance novel, that would be a bit heavy-handed. But what if your fantasies were just that beautiful?
Yeah.
And I don't know, like that's such a broad brush to paint with that I really can't believe they like stuck the landing to this movie, because like you would think it would almost have to end like The Piano Teacher, where you're like, oh no, these horrors are horrors. But to be able to just be like, to just push it so relentlessly, like things are safe, you're having good sex, this is actually, you just didn't know this is what you always wanted. You didn't know this was your fantasy. It's just so like relentlessly there that like at the end it does end up sweet somehow, and not the completely saccharine ending that it seems like it would be.
Yeah, or something that feels like they're setting up the characters. Both characters are engaged. Like what I was anticipating in kind of my I don't my disposition or something. It's like, oh, these two characters are both engaged in a kind of parallel delusion, and this ultimately can't work. But what that little scene in the car, which is so beautifully written and acted, is that like, no, like he in that moment he's accepted into the family. He's demonstrating very clearly that he's committed, not only to like the emotional aspects to the relationship, but also like, you're gonna work, right? And it's like, I want to work. Yeah, like like I don't for a second disbelieve that everything is gonna be fine for these characters. Again, if they continue to match each other's freak, which I believe that they will. And again, for a movie to ultimately, again, it's one thing to kind of lead us down the path, and then that idea, I mean, it does want to sell us on the fact that they're driving off into the sunset. That's a really fucking hard thing for me to swallow, just generally speaking. Yeah. But like, it does it, right? Like, the kind of, I mean, actually, relative to her sister, the hard-nosed sister is like, come on, give me a cheek, a kiss on the cheek, I'm not so bad, right? Like it does like with such a simple, but of course very sophisticated a bit of writing and acting. It kind of lays down these. I think at least if I'm gonna speak as the audience's kind of fears of like, oh, is this gonna be bad for them? When no, like it very like very exactingly tells you it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine for them, and that's great. Like I don't know a lot of movies where I'm like convinced of the events happening afterwards. The idea of where the film cuts and we get credits, that everything is hunky dory. But I get that here, and that's kind of crazy given the subject matter. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because typically, and like listen, I love schmaltz. Okay, I love a cheesy romance story. Like, it's absolutely. I think I'm the one of the three of us on the show with the highest tolerance for that kind of thing. But you do have to accept a certain threshold of schmaltz generally to get an ending as sweet as this. But because like he's just, like Almodovar just wrote this almost seemingly impossible line of like a home invasion hostage situation, parlaying into the love of your life, quite literally riding into the sunset together, and then to have it all work. I mean, like, we've been talking about it for 40 minutes, but it's just like, I don't even know. Like, typically you have to be willing to like take a level of cheese if you're going to have an ending that's sweet, but here it just feels logical or something. Right. Like, it just feels like you said, I'm kind of not even questioning the happily ever after here. It just like goes down so smooth somehow.
Yeah. Right. I mean, the film kind of accurate or definitely portraying that they are, again, I mean, it's a joke. I'm doing a joke, but like matching each other's freak, like, that kind of like switch flip where it's like, oh, when they're fucking at that one point, it's like, oh, right, I remember you. Yeah. She remembers, right? She's like, oh, how could I forget? Of course, yeah. It's you. And it's and again, it's the cumulative little bits of things like that ultimately are like, of course, because the characters are, because the work is so like confident in that way. It's so like self-assured in the making that the character's determination to be together is also like very like self-assured and like kind of rock solid. Like I feel like it comes from the confidence of making it, and then it is somehow like transmitted into the characters themselves. Because again, if you were to waffle like at all, again, like that's where like a crack can form. If you were to like compromise on XYZ thing, cracks are forming. And again, there's like a steadfast refusal to even like countenance like those ideas, you know, like even if like her attempts to flee ultimately are like genuinely motivated, but they result in like moments of like physical comedy or something. Like at one point she like throws a glass in his face, like it's just like a glass water glass. It just kind of like shatters off his face, and he's just like, man, you know, like the physicality. I think the Three Stooges-ness, which is that's a little too heightened, but like there's a kind of understated like you know comedicness to all of the performances that really help it again, like just not be scary, right? Like she's handcuffed against his will, and like and that's it's actually in its perversity quite cute, because they have to hold hands, right? They have to hold hands to not to not demonstrate that their togetherness is unwilled. Right? Like, like it's special. There's a unique combination of things that would notionally provide friction, but because there's a confidence in the making and an awareness of the subject matter, and a countenancing that's actually quite probably serious, that it comes off again like weirdly charming in spite of itself.
It seems like an almost impossible line to ride, and yet Almodovar does it.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, to just like speak broadly, I mean, I think it also just functions as such like a good metaphor, I guess, for how like attraction broadly, but I guess marriage specifically like works, right? Like, I mean, essentially you're two people who like bump up against each other long enough until you just decide to stay together. Like, it's like that's just the way that anybody ever gets together, is you're just in proximity to this person long enough and you're like, wait, this is good actually. And that's more or less what Marina does in this movie. Like, she's just forced into proximity with this man for long enough when she at one point just decides, hold up, this is kind of cool. I'm actually kind of fine with this. And I think like the metaphor holds so perfectly if you abstract it a little bit, because I think it even gives valence to that moment when, right at the end, when Ricky's going out to steal a car, and Lola arrives, even before Lola arrives, when Ricky leaves and she's like, you better tie me up, I don't know if I'll run. And I think that's such an interesting moment to have in the film. Like, I mean, like it works in terms of being held hostage, but it also works in terms of like, if you've ever been in a relationship and you don't know if it's going to work out and you don't know if you're just going to call it right there. Like, I mean, I've certainly been in that situation. I think many people have been in the situation where you just don't know from one moment to the next how permanent this arrangement will be. And so it's just like elegantly, I just think it works as like a metaphor for like attraction and partnership. I don't know. It works somehow on its own conceit, and it works in like a metaphorical sense. It's super hot. I love that. My favorite comedy moment is probably the scene where, it's when Marina misses like the after party for the movie or whatever, and Lola has just done her performance, and the director goes over to Lola and he's like, Lola, I hate your face, but you have an incredible ass. Lola, by the way, you're so fucking ugly, but your tits are amazing. Lola, everything about you sucks, but your body's tea. And it's I mean, and like, of course, like every time she says that, she just like owns him because he's like an old pervert, so she just like shuts him down. But like it's just like an incredible like deadpan delivery. The repetition's really funny. Yeah, I don't know, the comedy of that scene really sung for me.
Yeah. One thing that I was curious about, you know, the Spanish title is, and I'm probably gonna mispronounce this, because when I'm confronted with the Castellan Spanish, the Spain Spanish, I'm like, I don't know what we're doing here. The dialect, I'm like kind of picking up on things, but also it's like I don't know what the fuck's happening. But this idea, Atame, is a Spanish title, and of course it gets translated to "Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down." But Atame is, if I'm recalling correctly, it's tied up, which can be used literally, but also in that figurative sense of being like tied up as in like occupied or bound to something, right? Bound to a relationship. And I think it's a beautiful title that, again, like in that like macro abstracted way, is that once a funny joke, but also speaks to that idea of like the collision of people, and like the falling in love is like can often be like like Bjork says, like an emergency, like it's an emergency state, like everything about your life gets thrown out of whack, right? Like even one focuses of course on the fact that a woman's being bound by a man here, but even Antonio Banderas, in his collision with this woman, is again I'm using to speak really fucking problematically, using bad words, but like he's essentially like in some sense cured of his mental affliction because love has collided with him, right? And like she and her world comes to a fucking screeching halt because she's been bound, literally and then figuratively, by this man, right? Like that idea of love being like a kind of like fucking profoundly messy thing, a distressing thing, and again one that's like where one's worst habits are enabled by a partner, right? Like all the kind of like the muddy like unpleasantries. But again, this movie looks on those things with a kind of reverence, right? The relationship is a like, I mean, the film ultimately holds that the relationship between the two of them is a very beautiful thing, right? And of course there's all this like distress and chaos and so on, but like ultimately it's something that's joyful, right? And I think that's like such a cool fucking mode to work in.
Yeah, because I mean, like, I don't know, if you want to like really abstract this like away from the this guy did a kidnapping, like you can be like, oh yeah, the way that any two people get together is a mess, like, right? It's all messy, it's all unlikely. It's it's two people like growing together, so even in non-criminal circumstances there's like growing pains and like adjustments, this kind of thing. So like it's just really, I think, a perfect metaphor for that kind of thing. And I do sort of love that, like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes things in translation lose that nuance, but I love that like tie me up, tie me down is pretty much the exact translation of that.
Yeah.
Given what the phrase tie me down means.
Yeah.
I love that it has like that up down symmetry that's unique to English, perhaps.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a really gorgeous bit of translation.
Yeah. I was, it's one thing that I always kind of query when I've noticed that, like, when I notice that like a film's name has changed, when I see the titles versus what's been given to me on Criterion Channel or the fucking Blue or whatever, like, is different. I'm like, okay, what do we do here? who got their grubby little mitts on this? I want to see if this is accurate, right? And like, it's one thing for like Tarkovsky's Mirror to be called like fucking Mirror or whatever, like, right? Like I don't need to interrogate that further. But when it's like, when it's a one word, I'm like, well, what does that one word mean? Does that contain the kind of tie me up, tie me downness? And it's like, oh, turns out that's like you just easily slide from there. Like, that's fucking great. I love language. I love that idea of being tied up also exists as a kind of like idiomatic thing, right? Like like over there. Like that's beautiful. I love a clean translation.
Yeah, I mean it's so clean. I don't know. I feel like you're so rare. I feel like you're so. It's not, I know. I have a friend who does translation work, and like I'm always amazed when he's able to like make a pun work in two languages. Right. Like he's able to like translate a pun from Japanese into English, and it's like the same idea. And I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
I remember once watching Arrested Development as like maybe in my early 20s, and being like, how do they go about translating this? everything is a fucking word joke. You know, like there's always money in the banana stand, which is to say there's money in the business of the banana stand, but there's literally money in the banana stand. Or like, I don't know, just like Tobias is fucking Mr. F shit.
Yeah, he blew himself.
He blew himself. Like just like how do you begin? Like, you know, does bleu in French also mean to blow? Like, you know, like it's just not.
Yeah, I gotta see what the French subs are like.
I'm like shuddering at the idea of it being. Yeah, they're just they're just explication. They're like, well, fuck. Okay, so here's the deal. You know, it's just like a wall of yellow text at the bottom of the screen. Yeah. No, it's just it's frictionless. I really found that like deeply charming.
Yeah, I gotta see more Almodovar movies. I mean, they're all so far. All the ones I've seen have been incredibly based. And one of our coolest gay guys. Yeah,
and they're fun too. You know, like I think that's it's nice to know that or something. You know, like I mean, how do I say this? I tried to start to watch Cronenberg's The Shrouds, and I will at some point be in the mood for The Shrouds. I swear to God. But like 20 minutes in, I was like, "Oh, I'm not fucking. I can't. This guy's watching his fucking dead wife decompose. Like, fucking can't. I can't fucking do this." But that idea that like,
as somebody who did watch The Shrouds, it doesn't get any less challenging.
See, and I knew like I intuitively, I'm like, game respects game or something. I'm like, I know how this is gonna go down, and I'm simply not cut out at the moment. But this idea of Almodovar, again, working in this modality that's like he's dealing with the messiness of relations between people while also just like cutting a fun fucking movie. Those are two special things. Those are two very, very special things.
Agreed. I gave this 4 stars, but I think I might go up to 4.5. I just think I there's just nothing about it I don't like.
Yeah,
that I've chatted about it.
It's a solid 4. I mean, I enjoy, like, again, this was like, I don't know, just I guess in my recent viewing of things, you know, I probably talked about the fucking the goober guy with the fucking the long legs guy bullshit. You know, I've been not they're not sending their best. And like, you know, I fucking watched this and I was like, holy fuck, palate cleanser. Like, I was just like, movies, you know, like, and
loved the movies.
And I really just, I had such a fucking ball with this. I really was like, right. That's why I love this medium. That's why I love this art form. Hell fucking yeah. No, I mean, it's 4 solid, easy stars.
Well, thank you so much for listening. This comes out on Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving if you're in America.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, fuck all the reasons for the holiday, but I hope you get to spend some time with your friends and or loved ones. I hope you drink if you drink. I hope you have a lot of good food. And I hope you are generally merry because this year has been fucking dog shit.
Yeah.
So I will be hopefully being as merry as I can be given the circumstances. And I hope this as well for all of our American listeners. Even if you're not American, have a beer. I don't know.
Yeah.
You can find the show wherever you get your podcasts. So that is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you're listening. Please rate, please review, please subscribe, please tell a friend. Okay, if you know a she, gay, or they who would enjoy an Almodovar film, let them know. They're smooth and they're gorgeous. Yeah, tell friends about the show. You can write into the show if you choose. We just got an email recently about something that we might do on the Patreon. So, you know, your suggestions are seen and heard. So send them in. You can do that at our email, swimfanspodcast@gmail.com. swimfanspodcast@gmail.com. You can do that on the Spotify like episode comment. You can do it on like an Instagram DM, whatever's easiest for you. We also have a Patreon. That's patreon.com/swimfans. For as low as $1 a month, you can get access to the whole backlog of stuff over there. We have stuff really running the gamut of what the episodes are about. So if you want to see things outside of the usual oeuvre of the show, you can get it over there. And the show is on all the social media sites: Blue Sky, Instagram, Letterboxd. That's user SwimFansPod. Give us a follow. I am on all those same spots. User Amons, AMONNS. I saw Wicked for Good.
All right.
Wicked for Mid. In my opinion.
Whoa, save it for the Oscars episode, Josh.
I hope they don't nominate it, because I'm a real the first movie I thought was really great. Like I don't think Chu is that much to write home about as a director, but like for me, Arrivo and Grande and Bailey were so much fun to watch. I'm a lifelong theater kid, so I love the Wicked soundtrack. The back half of the movie the back half of the story is just not good. Like I think famously the back half of the play isn't as good as the front half. It's like It. Everybody loves the part when they're kids and everybody hates the part when they're adults. It's kind of the same thing for Wicked. but it's also such a tall order, because the back half of Wicked, whether it's the play or the movie, not only has to satisfy its own story, it has to hook up to the Wizard of Oz, and that's just like a lot to put on a movie. It's a lot of narrative pressure, and it just like tissue paper falls apart. I didn't like it very much, but some of the songs were okay. Craig.
You can find me at Craig Neeson on Instagram and Letterboxd, CraigNeeson.com. I saw Godspeed You Black Emperor at a cemetery this year, and it was fucking great
let's
show.
Go.
But there are a bunch of independent vendors and so on. And there was this boutique film label, and they were selling their wares. And they're like, well, what are you into? And I was just like, erotic thrillers. like this fucking like kid at a fucking candy stand, like just not being able to choose. And they're like, well, you might like this one. And the guy hands me a film called Gushing Prayer, which is a Pink film.
Holy shit.
And it's such a loving... Like, I wish I could show everyone the packaging. It's just like this elegant little paper, foil embossed Gushing Prayer, and then like there's like another paper slip cover over it, and then there's like the actual like the whatever digipack in the middle. But it says 15-year-old, and it sounds awful. 15-year-old has sex with an adult, like a teacher, but like they're trying to like. Her and her friends are just like she becomes a prostitute. Her and her friends just kind of go around. She has sex with people, and they kind of like kind of wax about like sex, and like what if they could get rid of sex? What if this like sex like they just want a better understanding of like what sex is and what motivation is, and like. You know, she had an orgasm when she had sex the first time, and she's not achieving orgasm in her successive sexual encounters, and it's weird because her friends are there, but the people that she's having sex with don't seem to notice. They're kind of like this like Greek choir, but it does this elegant thing where it'll occasionally pop into color, but it's mostly black and white. And like my review of it is like, if I could still smoke weed, which I unfortunately can't get blunted anymore, but like if I could still smoke weed, I would just get blunted and watch this fucking movie, because it's just I mean it's a delight. It's texturally just really really interesting and really strange, but strange in a like something that I kind of that only makes sense if you watch both Gushing Prayer and Upstream Color. Will you understand what I'm talking about? Where it's like there's kind of like a
two unrelatable movies,
two completely unrelated films, but there's a kind of like Twilight dreaminess to the whole affair that like really helps sell whatever the fuck is happening on screen. But yeah, Gushing Prayer. And you can research more about it. The folks that sold to me like have a thing here in Chicago, and maybe I'll report back once I make my way to their actual like their distro place. But like they were really lovely and really really cool to talk to. They also did a Blu-ray release of Rumpelstiltskin, the horror film. I was
wow.
like,
Okay.
and I told him, and I remember I told him like I remember seeing this when I was a kid in video stores, and it scared the shit out of me. I never actually saw it. But yeah, Gushing Prayer.
I gotta see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you can find Jen wherever you get your social medias, Blue Sky and Instagram, Diatron5, I think.
Yes.
That's probably right.
I think that's right.
If I'm wrong, then you'll never hear from me again because I will be removed from the edit.
Close enough.
Okay, we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.